Good day, students. Today we are going to talk yet on another interesting topic. I know some of you will say, Auntie, it's boring. Not at all. It's a matter of interest. And the way I'm going to take it, you will enjoy it. The topic is what? Summary question on hypocrites. Remember the other time we read the passage on hypocrites. So today we are going to take the summary question. Is that clear? And of course, as usual, I expect you to learn few things by the end of the lesson. The first one, you should be able to read a passage and extract the main or major points raised in it as demanded by the examiner. 2, present these points in a correct, concise, and brief form, as well as in a very correct grammar. 3, avoid all forms of illustration, repetitions, and other forms of extraneous or relevant materials while presenting your answers. Our materials, as usual, reference point, our New English Concepts, Senior Secondary Book 1, pages 89 to 90, Complete English Course by Mrs. Ibe Ukamaka. Now, to the business of the day. Remember, the last time we talked on summary generally. So today we are just there to practice what we have been taught and perhaps remind ourselves of what we discussed in the course of studying what summary is all about. Is that clear? And then the first thing we'll ask ourselves, what do we mean by summary? If actually we are to engage ourselves in any external examination like WAEC and NECO. The summary section of questions seeks to test your ability to extract or pick relevant information from a larger passage and present the information in a clear and concise language. If you remember, in the course of studying your comprehension passage or passages, we are told that in each paragraph there is what we call the topic sentence. The same thing when you are reading a passage for summary is like that. All you needed to do is in each paragraph make sure you pick the silent points there, the key point that that passage is talking about. If you're able to do it that way, you find out that your summary answers will be as small as short as possible, straight to the point. It's not just any sentence, but the correct one that is expected of you. Is that clear? So it could further mean bringing out the silent or key points in a particular passage, in a particular paragraph, if not paragraphs. Let's take, for example, if in the course of reading your passage, you come across a sentence like this. Sentence A, John came home in the evening. Of course, when you look at this particular sentence, it's just one message that is important here. The sentence is made up of more than just one sentence. But what is important there, which is the key point, is that John came home. In the evening or whatever, we're not interested there again. It is just there to make the sentence keep moving. So in this particular sentence, John came home in the evening. It has two ideas, but the main point in that is what? John came home. Is that clear now? Then you could as well have another sentence like this in a given passage, in another paragraph of a given passage. B, the building was condemned because the foundation has been damaged by a recent earthquake. You can see. Though it has three main ideas, the central emphasis still remains that the building was condemned. That is the main thing there. So no matter how large the passage is, you must do what? Bring together very important issues each passage is talking about. That is what we mean by summary. And that is what is expected of you when you are giving us your summary passages. Exactly, this is just the definition. We are just taking what you saw on the board as what? Definition of what is expected when summary questions are given to you. What you are tested on. Exactly. And I've given you examples so that when you come across a sentence that is like that, you should know when a sentence is just conveying one idea or when the ideas are more than one. Is that clear? All right. Now we are going to briefly look at steps in writing a summary. You've done this before, so I'm going to be fast. I just want to remind us of what we have studied so that we'll go straight to the reading of the passage to answer our summary question. Is that clear? Okay. For you to give us a very good answer in your summary question, you must read the passage. So reading is the first step. This step is the most important stage because all other stages depend on it. And if you didn't read a passage, I don't know the answer you are going to give. You can't pull down the air and give to us. So your answers must come from a given passage. Read the passage carefully and thoughtfully. It's not when you're reading the passage, you'll be thinking about the buns and coke you will take in the course of the break. No, your mind must be in what you are reading. That's what I mean by carefully and thoughtfully. The first reading gives you a general understanding of the passage. Then, as you read for the second time, then you will notice how each paragraph expresses different aspects of the theme of the passage. Remember, each paragraph must have something to give. If actually you are reading the passage carefully and thoughtfully. 2. Read your summary questions first. Note all what I'm saying because you are going to apply these when we are reading the passage. Read your summary questions first before reading the passage for the first time. This will fortify and guide your summary. 3rd, selecting the main points. When you have your questions with you behind your blagata, you find out that in the course of reading the passage, your brain will be moving towards the answer. You say, maybe this is where I'm going to pull what I want or summarize what I want or something of such. Is that clear? 3, selecting the main points. The selection of the main ideas depends on the careful reading of the entire passage, remember. Is that clear? Therefore, when you are reading for summary, please put your whole mind there and make sure you pick all the silent points from each paragraph so that you'll be able to give us a nice reply, a nice answer. 4th, the summary should be in your own expression of ideas, which the author stated in the passage. Please, the oversabis, boys, I'm talking to you people because you always default us when it comes to this particular rule number 4, step number 4. The summary should be in your own expression of ideas, which the author stated in the passage. Do not give your examiner something you think is supposed to. No. Read whatever that they said in that passage. Give us our answers the same way it is there in the passage. In your own language, in your own expression. Because you know lifting is not allowed in summary writing. You don't lift like a comprehension passage. Instead, you gather all your ideas together and put them in just a simple but a correct sentence. Whether you want to use preamble or not to is all for you. Exactly. Please do not give us what you think or what you feel. We are not, the examiner is not interested in what you feel about the passage. Because once you do that, you are breaking our rules. But what did the passage say about this particular thing you want to give us? Is that clear? Do not engage in mindless lifting, but could borrow a word if the need be. Students, please, this number 4, go and read it all over and all over. That when you are engaging, giving us summary answers, it must be what the writer is discussing in the passage. And you must not lift, because it's not a comprehension where you will take a whole sentence from the paragraph and then give to us. No, it's your idea. Your idea is that you put together and give us in just a short sentence. That's what I mean there. And if you must borrow, my dear, let it be a word. If you don't know what a word is, just follow us. Follow the teaching today. You will find out that a word, John, is a word. Come is a word. It's not a sentence. Are we together? Okay. Borrow a word. Please don't misquote me. I didn't say borrow a sentence or paragraph. No. Which means you're engaging yourself in what we call the mindless lifting. No. When it comes to summary writing, we don't lift. Okay, step 5, avoid repetition, illustration, and poor expression while giving your summary answers. Very simple. You need not to repeat what you have seen in the passage. You don't give us illustrations. And for example, in a summary passage, we don't need a thing like that. And that was why I said, when you put one-on-one of whatever idea you've gotten from the passage to the question, you give it to us in words, in a good English, a simple sentence, not poor expression. If you should give your examiner poor expression, sorry, your examiner will give you what? Poor marking. Because you don't deserve a good marking. So avoid repetition, illustration, and poor expression while giving your summary answer. Is that clear? Good. Step 6, I said, do not lump 2 points in one sentence. A sentence like this: dogs protect man and help the police to dictate crimes. You find out here, this should form 2 sentences, not one. The first, dogs protect man. The second one, it helps the police to dictate crimes. So if you give your examiner a sentence like that, dogs protect man and help the police to dictate crimes, you've lumped two sentences in one, and your examiner will not know which one to follow, and because of that, will give you 0, because you've been warned in the course of studying how to answer summary questions that you should not do what? Lump 2 questions, 2 answers in one. So please avoid a sentence like this. Dogs protect man. And of course, you know, and is a linking word. You've used this and to link this to this second sentence. So please avoid what? Repetition, illustration, and then poor expression. Put it at the back of your mind. Step 7, your answers are presented in preamble or straight sentences. That is complete sentence. Of course, if you want to introduce your sentence by making a sentence before atomizing whatever answers that you have, you are dealing with preamble. If you just want to give us a sentence answers, is all for you. Is that clear? Number 8, be brief in your answers. Please, if you know you are going to do very well in summary questions and answers, you must learn to give brief answers. That is why it is summary. We don't need elaborate something. No, put one on one together and then give us in a correct English. Very brief, very short, and then you get to where you're going. All right, having discussed extensively the steps you must undergo, you must study in order to know how to answer your summary questions. Now, we are faced with a comprehension passage of which after reading, after applying what we've been taught, all those steps, we are going to apply them then to enable us to answer the summary question. And if actually you remember vividly, one of the steps said we should read the summary questions first before reading the passage for the first time. And then after reading the passage the first time, by the time we finish the second time, you can now give your answers to the summary questions. Are we there? But please, I am going to do what? Apply just one rule. And what is it? I am going to read the questions. I am the teacher here. But you, the students, remember, you must read the questions, read the passage the first time, and then read the passage the second time in order to give us our answers. But for the benefit of this lesson, please, I am going to read the questions and read the passage for the last time before we agree on the answers. Is that clear? Okay, can I have the questions? Summary question. In 6 sentences, one for each, summarize Agbeti's 6 accusations against the leaders of the country. Let me read the question again. In 6 sentences, put it in your oblongata. One for each, summarize Agbeti's 6 accusations against the leaders of the country. Now, the passage. The passage is, once again, is on hypocrites. All the time I had known Agbeti, he had always been an enthusiastic preacher of the gospel. He had always been a defender of the power and position of the authority. Suddenly, Tastun, he seems to have lost interest in all around him. He became embittered and gradually drifted to becoming an antagonistic of all he had cherished. At the slightest opportunity, he directed his venom at political and religious leaders and diaphragmed social crusaders. When the emissaries attempted to persuade him to support one policy or another, he asked to be saved the guilty of dining with hypocrites and deceitful persons. The only time Agbeti considered to have a rapport with the leaders of the ruling class, he averred that he would agree to run the state with the men and women who currently wielded the staff of power, only if sincere answers were provided to his questions. Agbeti queried whether those who tell others not to steal are not pen robbers, and those who teach others not to tell a lie are not smooth liars. Agbeti alleged that leaders who scold others not to be lazy shrink in their responsibilities. He complained that leaders who preach honesty are fraudulent, and those that charge others to be loyal are implicitly treacherous. Pointing his index finger at one of the leaders, Agbeti frankly but gently demanded whether those who warn others about the dangers of smoking are not drug peddlers. When the leaders nodded in a seeming affirmation that he could understand all, Agbeti contended that the advocates of democracy are dictators and that terrorists are those that extol good leadership. Agbeti attributed the violence in society and the unemotional disposition of the citizenry to the rejection of the old, absolute maxim of do as I say and not as I do. In a tone of finality, Agbeti declared that the citizens should not be expected to uphold the tenets which the leaders are guilty of violating. So having gone through the comprehension passage, we are now coming to summary question itself. I told you I'm not going back the second time. So let me read the question again. Why, I'm sure you might have jotted down all your answers so that we'll move along. Summary question. In 6 sentences, one for each, summarize Agbeti's 6 accusations against the leaders of the country. That's the question. Summary answers. Agbeti's accusations against the leaders of the country are, who will tell me, what did I do here? Let me repeat myself. Summary answers. Agbeti's accusations against the leaders of the country are, what did I do here? You find out that if you have been paying attention, is it straight? Is it preamble? Of course it's preamble. Agbeti's accusations against the leaders of the country. I'm going to itemize. First, the leaders are hypocritical and deceitful. You could go back to your passage. You find it at paragraph 1, last 2 lines. When you go back to the passage, go to paragraph 1, last 2 lines. You are going to decode the answer I have just given you. Remember, we don't lift. We don't do what? Lift. You understand what the whole of that place is talking about. And in a nutshell, the leaders are hypocritical and deceitful. Is that clear? And then, answer 2. The leaders steal the country's wealth. You could find the answer in paragraph 2, last 3 lines of paragraph 2. Are you paying attention? Yes, it's not a magic. It's just a matter of studying how to answer summary questions. Is that taken? Answer 3. The leaders are drug pushers. Whether you call them drug pushers or drug peddlers, all for you. Remember, in the passage, they use drug peddlers. And in my own, I decided to use drug pushers. Synonyms. I make use of my choice of words. That's all. And then you could find this particular answer in paragraph 3, lines 7, 8, 9, and 10. By the time you read the whole of 8, you find out that you deduce the answer I've just given you, because we cannot lift. Are we together? Answer 4. The leaders are dictators. Of course, it is explicitly stated there for you to see. I borrowed that word, dictator. You know, I told you, if the need be, you could do what? Borrow just a word and then put in your own sentence. And that answer 4, you could get it in paragraph 3, last 4 lines. And then the 5th answer, the leaders violate the country's law. The leaders violate the country's laws. And that could be found in paragraph 4, line 1, 2, and last line. Lines 1, 2, and last line. That's your answer to answer 5. Are we there? And the last but not the least, answer 6. Leaders are liars. You could see this particular answer in paragraph 2, last 3 lines. I am dragging you this way so that you will know I didn't manufacture all my answers. That's what happened. I glanced at them somewhere and I put them in my own English, in my own language, to suit what is expected of me. I framed it so that my examiner will understand me better. Is that clear? All right, having said that, we have gradually come to the end of our lesson. And I will wish you to simply pick any comprehension passage in your text that has to do with summary. If you go through them, there are many of them. I won't fix you to any. Give yourself one. Sit down and read the passage. Follow the steps. Remember, question before reading for the first time, and after that, read the second time for the final time before applying your answers. Is that clear? Practice the whole steps as you read a particular passage and then give your answer. I'm sure practice, as the Englishman says, makes it perfect. You find out that before your final year, you might have been a perfect summary answer. Is that okay? All right, see you in our next class. Bye.